KORK North Bay, your source for news and happenings throughout the North Bay.
Hello and thanks for watching KORK North Bay TV. Coming up is our weekend wrap covering all the news stories and happenings that took place over the weekend throughout the greater San Francisco North Bay. Over the weekend, we really had some nice warm weather, but we also had some pretty high winds with gusts reaching over 70 miles an hour in some places at higher elevations. And unfortunately, the combination between those two makes for a bad scenario for fires, which is exactly what we had over the weekend with several fires breaking out throughout the greater North Bay, from grass and vegetation fires to car fires that had spread to wooden fences between homes and a couple of small home fires. But luckily and thankfully, no injuries were reported in any of them, and thanks to the quick response times and the amazing skills of our first responders, none of them got too far out of control despite the high winds. The first fire was reported in Sonoma County just west of Lake Sonoma at 7:30 in the morning after smoke was seen near Stewart's Point Skaggs Springs Road and Tomb Creek Road with a grass fire in an open hill area. Fire crews were quickly on the scene battling the flames, which at that point had spread to about 2 acres in size. By the time they got it fully contained, it had covered an area of about 3 to 4 acres of grassy hillside. Most of the fires reported are still under investigation, but this particular fire was said to be started from a burn pile back in April that somehow, some way, still had hot embers deep inside the leftover ash that the strong dry winds were able to kindle and spread into the grassy hillside area. Another fire happened on Sunday in the upper East Hills of Napa Valley, not far from the town of Angwin, called the Whisper Fire, just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon off the 800 block of Friesen Road, which burned just over 3 acres before it was finally put out. And yet another fire broke out on Sunday as well near the Sonoma County area of Annapolis, which is just east of Highway 1 at Sea Ranch. That fire broke out at 7 o'clock in the morning and began to spread through the thick green forest area at the end of Fuller Mountain Road. Crews from CAL FIRE and North Coast Fire Protection District responded to it and began their attack at getting it put out. Thanks to the amount of green vegetation in the area, the fire moved at a pretty slow pace and crews had it fully under control in a short amount of time. This fire was contained to an area of about an acre in size. On Sunday in the town of Suisun City at about 9:45 in the evening, multiple calls were made to 911 from people saying that they heard gunshots in the area of the 1100 block of School Street. So officers quickly responded to the area and found an adult man and woman who were both suffering from gunshot wounds. Medics at the scene began giving both of them life-saving measures, but unfortunately the man was pronounced deceased at the scene. The woman was transported to the hospital, where unfortunately she also succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced deceased. Investigators believe this incident stemmed from a verbal altercation between 3 suspects and the 2 victims in a parking lot, during at which time one of the suspects pulled out a gun and began shooting at the victims. Unfortunately, the suspects got away, but detectives are working on the case by checking for any nearby surveillance footage and other leads in hopes of being able to identify the suspects. Right now, though, all 3 of them are still out and about. Police are asking the public if they have any information about this incident or the suspects to please call them at 707-421-7373. Hopefully, these 3 are able to be identified and quickly apprehended. The identities of both victims have not been released yet until their next of kin have been notified. Our condolences go out to their families. In Santa Rosa on Sunday, during the high winds that were whipping through the area, where at some higher elevations were clocked at over 70 miles an hour, a large tree branch fell on a home located on the 800 block of Howard Street. Unfortunately, the weight of the heavy tree branch crushed the roof of a home and caused major injuries to the man living inside, who was identified as 61-year-old Ralph Harrington. Mr. Harrington was transported to the hospital for treatment, but unfortunately his injuries were so severe that he was pronounced deceased later that day. Our condolences go out to his family. There were countless other reports around the entire North Bay area about trees and branches falling onto homes and cars, causing everything from minor damage to major damage, as well as knocking down power lines, causing numerous power outages. At one point, almost 1,700 homes were without power just north of Sonoma, and hundreds more around the extended North Bay in clusters of a few dozen homes at a time. At one point in Santa Rosa, a 23-year-old woman on Steel Lane suffered major injuries after she was struck by a falling tree branch, so she was transported to the hospital for treatment. We hope she's doing okay. Thankfully, this high-pressure meets low-pressure system that's causing all of these high winds is said to dwindle down early this week. On Wednesday last week, out of the Petaluma River just north of the Highway 37 bridge, a small plane outfitted with water landing skids was practicing water landing maneuvers in the river and ended up upside down in the water, sinking up to the landing skids. Thankfully, the pilot was able to get himself out without any injuries and then got himself onto the upside down skids where he called 911. But his plane, well, not so much because it was now completely waterlogged. The Petaluma Fire Department was on scene as quickly as possible and got the pilot safely back to shore. Both the FAA and the NTSB were called as a standard protocol for any plane crash, who are now handling this incident. This is one lucky pilot that he wasn't knocked out when the plane flipped over and was upside down underwater, which could have easily turned this incident into a really tragic one. We're sorry about his plane, but we're happy that he made it out alive and uninjured. In Petaluma on Wednesday, just after 1:30 in the afternoon, a man was getting some cash out of the ATM machine at the Wells Fargo Bank located on the 300 block of South McDowell Boulevard when an unknown man walked up behind him and physically attacked him, demanding the man hand over his money. But the man wasn't having any of that and fought back in self-defense, which prompted the would-be robber to rethink his tactics and flee the scene empty-handed. The man who defended himself did suffer some minor injuries, but he declined any medical services. When officers arrived at the scene, they established a perimeter around the area and also called for the Sonoma County helicopter Henry 1 so they would have the help of an eye in the sky. While they were gathering information and evidence about this incident, another call came in from someone else saying that a guy matching this suspect's description had committed a theft nearby and that a witness was following him who was on the phone with dispatch giving them real-time updates on his location. So Henry 1 flew over to that area and spotted the suspect near the Petaluma Community Center and baseball fields. So ground units moved in and were able to locate and detain the suspect. He was identified as 21-year-old Aiden Cohn, a local resident. Officers quickly located Cohn, who was on probation for previous theft-related incidents, so he was arrested and booked into Sonoma County Jail on charges of attempted robbery, probation violation, and additional theft charges. According to the CHP, 3 fatal vehicle crashes took place on Saturday in Sonoma County. The first incident took place on Highway 1 near Salt Point State Park, which is about halfway between Jenner and Sea Ranch. According to the report, a family visiting from Germany were in a Nissan Rogue heading southbound on Highway 1 when for some reason the woman who was driving lost control and crashed into a tree, which caused the vehicle to overturn and go down an embankment, coming to a stop on its roof. In the vehicle were 4 people. 3 of those people only sustained minor injuries, but unfortunately, 1 adult male passenger sustained fatal injuries and was pronounced deceased at the scene. The other 3 people in the vehicle were transported to the hospital for treatment and later released. The cause of the accident is under investigation, but according to the CHP, alcohol or drugs are not suspected. The next fatal accident that day took place in Santa Rosa at 4:15 in the afternoon when an 81-year-old man driving a Mercedes-Benz heading northbound on Highway 101 veered off the shoulder of the highway and struck a tree just north of Todd Road. Unfortunately, the impact proved to be fatal for the man, who was pronounced deceased at the scene. His passenger, a 79-year-old woman, sustained major injuries and was transported to Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital, but unfortunately, she succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced deceased as well. The cause of that incident is under investigation. And the third fatal incident that day also took place in Santa Rosa at 7:15 in the evening when a 52-year-old man on a Harley-Davidson was riding along Porter Creek Road near Prestwood Lane, who witnesses say was illegally passing cars on the wrong side of the road. His last and final attempt at illegally passing cars was when he tried getting back in the lane but hit the back of a Toyota truck that was stopped with his turn signal on, waiting to make a left turn. Witnesses called 911 and first responders arrived, but the man was pronounced deceased at the scene. No one else involved in this incident was injured. In Mill Valley on Saturday at about 10:30 in the morning, calls came into the Southern Marin Fire District about a house that was on fire at 117 Cornelia Avenue, so they jumped in their gear and rushed to the scene. When they arrived, they located a fire that was actively burning on the first floor of the 3-story home, so they sprung into action and began getting it under control, as well as trying to keep it from spreading to the rest of the home. While that was going on, other crew members helped the residents and their pets get out safely, which thankfully they were able to do without injuries. This home was a bit of a challenge for fire crews because it was set back off the road and built on the side of a rather steep hill, so crews had to lay out hundreds of feet of heavy fire hose in order to get water to the house to battle the flames. Thankfully, because of the quickness of their response and the skill of their attack, they were able to keep the fire contained to just the 1 floor, preventing it from reaching the 2nd and 3rd floors of the home. I'd say that was a job well done, folks. The cause of the fire is under investigation. This broadcast is sponsored by Mike Larbury Automotive. 5-star ratings for all of your domestic and import automotive repair needs, located on Highway 12 in Sonoma. Mention you saw them here on KORK TV to receive a special discount. And also by Sonoma Paint Center, your source for all of your home and automotive paint and supply needs.
Transform your home or business with Sonoma Paint Center. As your local Benjamin Moore retailer, we've got everything you need to paint inside and out, plus top quality stains. Step inside our Santa Rosa location or visit us in Sonoma, Sebastopol, and now our newest location in Napa. From vibrant colors to durable finishes and required supplies, we'll help you bring your vision to life. Sonoma Paint Center, serving you in Santa Rosa, Sonoma, Sebastopol, and now Napa. Sonoma Paint Center, color your world.
Well, that's it for our weekend wrap. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We'll see you again on Friday for our weekly wrap. Remember, you can watch us on our website at KORKTV.com or on our YouTube channel. Just search for KORK North Bay TV. And if you watch us on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to us. We'd sure appreciate it. We'd like to wish everyone a safe, happy, and healthy week. Thanks for watching.